I'm asking you to reconsider what the purpose of government should be. Isn't free will important? Isn't that what makes us all special? Don't we tell our children they can do anything they put their minds to? What do we do with our worst criminals? Do we subject them to public humiliation? Do we forsake their bloodline? Do we subject them to eye for an eye? Do we banish them? Exile them? No, we take away all their freedom. They live a very secure life with no freedom. The primary purpose of government should be to assure the people's freedoms. I'm not a politician, despite this being the 8th election I'm running in. I'm an IT professional with a career that is over 22 years long. I run in these elections to represent people like me, people who believe that the best thing the government can do for me and the collective good is to get out of our way. Over the past several years, the government's indifference to freedom has become so intolerable that I'm glad to say some of my competitors probably feel similarly motivated about freedom. So why vote for me? Let's start with immediate relief. As I said, I'm an IT professional. In my field, no matter what you do, you need to be able to process information and use it to solve complex problems. All across the country, including in Hume, the people are being subjected to intolerable coercion that governments are getting very comfortable with using. How can you claim to be exercising the will of the people when you constantly have to resort to coercion? But this is a federal election, I hear you say. Most of the coercion is coming from the states. This is where we can use the size and scope of the major parties against them. I'm building a coalition of freedom candidates all across the country who all pledge, if elected, to vote against every question, including forming government, until the major parties ensure coercive state policies are removed. Not announced, not scaled back, removed. The only exception to the no-to-war pledge is a federal Bill of Rights, with the teeth to keep the states in line and remove the coercive policies for them, ensuring they cannot return. But what happens after we get the states back in line? Well, we have a lot of work to do, a lot of damage to repair. Here is where I might diverge from my fellow freedom candidates. The Liberal Democrats represent a philosophy that believes the individual is the best person to decide how to live their life. Remember free will? This means we solve problems with less coercion, less control, less government. In my professional industry, there is a similar philosophy widely adopted and growing, that the more options one has in how to perform their task, the more efficient they are at performing that task. It's a pretty simple concept for libertarians. So besides their philosophical roots, the Liberal Democrats' policies are created with the same perspective as the powerhouses of the IT industry, with proven effectiveness. From the economy to manufacturing to the environment or any other area that is important to you, I promise to craft a solution that will reduce the burden of government or increase options in how an end can be met, as well as efficiently solve the problem. But there's a catch. You really need to understand the problem to design a balanced solution. It is here where my IT career will become an asset, as the ability to process information is fundamental to the IT industry. Government should essentially be an organizing force. With restored and increasing freedoms, the demand of an organizing force is going to become in high demand and would be a good transition to shrink the size of government while empowering individual entrepreneurship. Investigative and enforcement functions in government could be converted to consultation functions that, instead of hampering an established business with regulatory burden, consult with and help an ambitious individual to get their business off the ground and help it grow. This is a function that would over time submit to competition from the private sector under standards that are held by the government. Why should you vote for me? Because after restoring your precious freedoms, I promise to craft and promote policies to shrink the power and burden of government. Because I do not want to do this job forever. Once the power dynamic between the people and the government is adequately balanced, I will design a system of real-time proportional representative government that will put me and my colleagues in Parliament out of work, because nobody should want to do this job.
Authorised by Robert Cribb for the Liberal Democrats, Sydney.